Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to Moscow. Welcome to a new video, and a new apartment tour video. Let's go check it out. Firstly, let me just show you where I am here, because it is really nice today. Beautiful blue sky day, and there's this very beautiful pond and walking area. Now, we came from Prokshinsky metro station, which you can actually see on the other side of the pond, the raised line of the metro, and the actual station is just off where you see the buildings in the background. And this is Prokshinsky metro station, which would be exactly a 10 or 12 minute walk from where I'm standing. There's a gentleman doing some fishing, and this area right here is called the Spanish Quarter. And super interesting, these different buildings and different designs of buildings that we're gonna briefly walk around as we head towards the building. Zhenya's with me today. She's actually set up the apartment tour. So we're gonna go and see what she's found me to show you. But just have a look at these buildings for a minute. Now, it is in the late afternoon, so most people are coming home from work now, university, school, and a lot of people are already out going for a walk, taking the kids for a walk, taking their pets for a walk. But how nice does it look right here? And it's hard to imagine that about 5 years ago, none of this was built, and this is an entirely new micro-district. All these different buildings and this boulevard leading towards the apartment we want to go to, all nicely landscaped. That's the word I'm looking for. Very nice. So the actual area has this main middle boulevard, I'm going to call it right here, and all the different buildings. And the actual planners of these micro districts do want to try to make them all look a little bit different from each other, and different designs, different heights, so it doesn't look all the same. And there is quite a series of buildings as I pan around. And on the lower ground floor of all the buildings are different businesses. So you've got multiple supermarkets. Actually, even from right here, before I even walk across to where we want to go, I can see there is Dixie Supermarket, and then there is an alcohol shop on the corner. Over here is Kuzvil and Pitorichka. There's also a Ozon pickup point if you're going to do online shopping. This is Prospekt, which I've done many videos inside different stores of theirs before. So you've got everything you need immediately here. There is also two different schools. There is one right by the apartment, and there's one over the back of these buildings. So I think there's a kindergarten and then a middle school as well. The nearest hospital would be, I'd say, about 10 minutes away by car, depending on which way you go on the main road. So you've got everything you need to live here, and we just need to walk a few minutes in this direction. This actual apartment tour has been set up by my wife. She's the one that arranged this for me today, and I'm just coming along to make a video, and she's the one with all the information and how to get inside. So the nearest metro station, we actually walked here. I'd say it's about 10 or 12 minutes walk from Prokshinsky metro station. It's on the red line in the southwest of Moscow. And it's actually a direct line back into the center of Moscow as well. So you can actually take that, come right out by Alexander Garden in the center of Moscow. If you were to take a car from here, I'd say about an hour, depending on traffic. I think it would be easier just to walk to the metro station if you wanted to go in the city for anything. And we're in this micro district here with a lot of buildings around us, and The metro is so close. This is what I like about these micro districts when they build them. They build them with functionality in mind. So they build them designed around families and kids and the convenience for mums to go to shops, and you don't have to go very far to do something. And if you do and you want to catch public transport, there is also buses that leave from right here as well. But let's head on over to the apartment. And after just a couple of minutes walk, we've made it over to the gate to go into the complex. Now, if you're a resident, you'd have a way to put in a PIN code to open the gate right here, or there's an RFID chip here as well. And nice and easy to walk on inside. This is actually the property developer of this complex right here. And then all the buildings, and this afternoon sun beaming away. We're loving it as we head into autumn. I always find it so interesting looking up at all the different buildings and towers. And this particular micro-district has quite a lot of buildings. However, the apartment that we want to go and see is in this separated area. So there is 5 different towers that make up this particular complex. And then the actual ground floor is then linked together by the different businesses. So supermarkets, cafes, bar, salon, and you've got all the different buildings that wrap around this courtyard area. So you've got play area for kids, and you can walk your dog and just enjoy the outside space of this complex. Now, what's really interesting is also in the middle area here, you actually have a school. So there is actually 2 schools immediately nearby. There's the one right in front of me here, and then there's another one kind of behind the other buildings. So the kids don't have to go that far to go to school. And it's late afternoon now, so the sun is slowly going down. Actually, there's even a walking track that you can follow with the rubberized flooring. Even some sunbeds if you want to lay out. I'm not too sure how many people do that. But this is the building that we need to go to, right here. To make it a little bit easier, Zhenya's holding the door open for me so we can go on inside. Now, if you're coming here as a visitor, you could use the touchpad right here and call up to the apartment to open the door, or you can tap the button if you were the actual owner or the person renting the place to go on inside. It's very straightforward. I just thought I'd show this room right here because the actual entrance is from the other side, but all the people that live here store their bikes, their prams, and everything downstairs rather than take it to their apartment. If you're actually a tenant here, you'd have a key to this room, and it's basically free for you to store your scooters, whatever you like. Now you've got this double door system to go inside. So the actual radiators are already on in Moscow because the weather's getting a little bit cooler, so it's already nice and warm. So there is the actual door there to the bike and pram storage. And then the lobby area. So the one thing you'll see when you come inside here are the letterboxes. And I really need some Russians in the comments to let me know about this, because I've said it over and over that these aren't used in Russia. We don't receive mail, and the only thing that'll be in the letterbox is generally your bill for water and electricity use. There might be a little bit of junk mail in there as well. And then coming around the corner, we can jump in at one of the elevators. So there is actually a fire escape steps going up or down. So there is below ground parking under the building, or you want to go up to the apartment up the steps. Let's take the elevator. Coming out of the elevator on the 9th floor, just need to find which direction the apartment is. It's in this side of the building, and this is actually shared by a few other apartments as well, and the door's right there. Coming inside the entrance, I've actually got everything prepared ahead of time. shoes off when you come inside. And you've got a very big entranceway here. Put your shoes on the mat right there. And then, actually, it would be nice if there was a cupboard or a wardrobe. Right here is the Wi-Fi, also the breaker box for the electricity for the apartment as well. And very neutral tones. So this is a 2-room apartment. So on the right we have the bathroom. I pointed this out in many videos before. The washing machine in the bathroom is very much standard and normal. Toilet, sink, and actually you get a bath with the shower as well. Very simple, functional bathroom. So we've got 2 bedrooms off to the left here. So there's 2 different rooms. And then you've got the kitchen area now. I've mentioned this in other videos before. It's very normal and very standard that you get sofas in the kitchen. And actually, a lot of people spend time. Now, they don't actually have a door separating this, so it's more open plan style. But sofa right there, table, and then the kitchen. I'm pretty sure we've got the same kitchen counter in our apartment. Dishwasher, and then there's oven with a hot plate, drawers, then the cupboards right here, and then actually this would be the range hood, which is not actually connected, but it's there. And then you'll see here, actually the flooring is vinyl flooring. The radiators, it's actually very warm in here because they've already got the heating on for the building. And we can see the view back out. Have a look at the green space. Of course, the main road right here. But the fact that these are triple glazed windows, you can't hear a single noise from the window or from the road outside. Fridge. So most apartments that you rent in Russia are furnished. Of course, Zhenya is here, coming for a look as well. And then you've got 2 bedrooms. So there's one on the left here. No wardrobe, but very spacious. This would be a queen-size bed in here. And there's a desk. Actually also air conditioning as well. And then this particular window looks out to the greater micro district. Windows need a bit of a clean. However, you can see out to the main boulevard. Now, if you were to rent this place, of course, you could bring extra furniture if you wanted to. Plenty of plug sockets. There's even a robot vacuum. How nice is that? Now, if it was to be a 2-bedroom place, you could have this as a second bedroom, and then the sofa in the kitchen would be the living area. It's all a little bit up to you, really. But however, you could put in here the bed and have this as a bedroom as well. Actually, there's plenty of cupboards there. And then there's even a balcony. We can go outside, I think. Yes, we can. So these are enclosed balconies. However, they've got like a single pane glass. So it's a little bit cooler out here year round. In winter, you wouldn't be able to come out here. You come out to get a bit of fresh air. And then you've got the view looking back to the other apartments. And then in the middle of the highway there is the metro line, which is where we came through to get here originally. So what do you think? Let me know. So these are all part of the rental, so you get pretty much everything. You probably just need to buy some dishes. And that's about it. The kitchen is very spacious though. You know, actually, when they built this place, if you had it as a one-room apartment, you could have had a nice lounge kitchen right here together. But the way it's set up as 2 rooms, that's just how it is. So what do you think? Bathroom back there. And Zhenya having a look around with me at the same time. After making our way back downstairs, Zhenya is going to give her opinion of the apartment. What do you think?
Yeah, I think apartment is quite nice. It's looks new.
Right, yeah, so this area here, all the buildings are newly finished. I think possibly this might be 1 year old, maybe 2 years old, just looking at the actual building itself. What do you think of the rooms? Nice big open kitchen.
Yeah, kitchen is also quite nice.
Now the way it was set up, it was almost like it was 2 bedrooms and then the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's not really that lounge room, like.
Yeah, it's no lounge room over there. Yeah.
And I don't even know where the TV would go. I didn't even see I didn't even point that out.
In bedroom or.
So
second bedroom.
Now the bathroom was not so big, but it was practical.
Just basic.
And then the view from the window was nice.
Yeah, view from the window is nice.
And also
10 minutes walk to the metro.
Right, yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, so back at the start of the video, I mentioned about how close it is to the metro, and I think that's the real key with this area here, is how convenient it is to live here and then be able to commute into Moscow if you were to take public transport. Thank you for your review.
You're welcome.
To make it a little bit easier, I'm actually going to do the ending of the video back at home, and that way I can talk about the price. Of course, this is a rental, so I'll go through the prices with you and the information about it so that you can be fully understanding of these Russian typical apartments and what you can get for your money. Okay, so I'm actually back home now, and it's a little bit easier to go through all the information, and it will come up on the screen just over here. And I'll firstly talk about the apartment itself. So it was a 2-room apartment. Now in Russia, commonly they call it by the number of physical rooms, and in the West, we'd normally call it by bedrooms. Now the way it was set up as we walked in, all the furniture was included. They had a bed in one room, and then the other room was empty, which ideally would be for a sofa and a TV. However, you could have that as a second bedroom if you want. But then it leaves you with the sofa in the kitchen, which is quite normal in a lot of Russian apartments, that you actually sit and gather in the kitchen. I know it sounds weird in your head, but it's very typical and very common. So the actual apartment itself was on the 9th floor. If you might have noticed the view out the window. 48 square meters was the total area of the apartment itself. So that included all of the rooms and then the balcony as well. And it was a 10-minute walk to the metro, to Prokshinsky metro station on the red line. I did mention that a couple of times. And the actual building itself, I found out, was built in 2022, so it's only a couple of years old. And actually, I think even some of the apartments haven't been lived in. They've not been remodeled yet, and people haven't moved in there. You could tell just from being there that it still felt very new inside and in the actual area around the building. So the price, and this is the bit that I think everybody wants to know about right here. So it's for rent and listed for 75,000 rubles per month. And you generally rent on a month-by-month basis. You can actually sign contracts depending on the agent, generally for a year. And it really depends on yourself and the agent what you've come up to as an agreement, but you pay the rent monthly. And depending on the agent, a lot of them may ask for a deposit or a commission. That depends on the place. However, 75,000 rubles a month. So the currency exchange, so it would work out at 904 American dollars per month, 770 euros per month, 672 British pounds, and then Canadian, $1,260, and 1,357 Australian dollars. So in Russia, you pay your rent monthly. Some people in other countries might pay weekly, but this is listed for rent. I will put the information in the description of the video, particularly the location. So if you want to look it up on a map application, you could, or just the region where it is in the southwest of Moscow. I mean, for me and for my wife, as we walked around, it was actually very nice. We know the area, I haven't actually driven past it in the car before, but I've never actually been outside and walked around there. But with that little pond and the walking areas, and there's also a park very close by. So, you know, if you're living in that neighborhood, very nice. A lot of things that you can do without having to leave the area. However, the metro, 10 minutes walk, and you can be anywhere in Moscow in under 1 hour, quite literally. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and post a comment and let me know what you think of this. Would you like to see more of them on the channel? Would you want to see more apartments or houses? Then if you want to follow me on Telegram, the link is right here. Nice and easy, you can follow my daily adventures. And then if you want to watch an old video on the channel, it'll come up right here. So you've got 2 different links that you can click. You can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.